You got me wanting to want you, but I don't think you like me like that.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's horchatamamita back with another video. For anyone who's new, welcome. For anyone who is a current subscriber, welcome back. With that being said, let's get into today's topic, which I feel like is very relevant, especially for us ladies, right? Why do you ask, Stella? Why? Also, I'm cozy today. Okay, guys? No, we don't have a fit on. I literally have my pajamas on. We're chilling. We're vibing. I'm trying to like lean off the alcohol. I feel like all that's missing is a little glass of wine to have some girl time right now and discuss the things that we need to discuss. But we're still gonna talk to Titi Stella, okay? The topic today is something that us women, I think, struggle with a lot. And I know this as a woman and a woman who knows a lot of women. What is this thing that I'm talking about? What is this thing I'm alluding to? I'm talking about detachment, babes, okay? A lot of times, I was speaking from personal experience. It's something that I struggle with. And I will say that, I will admit that. So I really thought it'd be important to get into that today. And so if anyone's wondering, what is detachment, right? Again, whenever I'm talking about anything, whenever I'm defining anything, this is based on my experience, my perspective, okay? This is not the Webster's dictionary definition. But the way that I think about detachment, or even let's roll back, okay? Let's go back a little bit. What is attachment? Attachment is when you very closely tie your identity with someone else or something else. That, to me, that's what I would define attachment as, okay? When you struggle with existing independent of something or someone, to me, that's what I would define as attachment. And I think really what it gets at is that there's an internal struggle, again, with identity, with self-confidence, with just like this idea of not feeling whole on your own. This can be caused by many things, right? Basically, it could be based on self-esteem issues because of whatever you've experienced in life. I think that can often lead to attachment. And obviously, like, when we talk about attachment, there's different attachment styles too, right? I think everyone has an attachment style, like secure, anxious, avoidant, anxious, avoidant. I'm not a therapist. I'm not gonna sit here and therapize everyone or like go into the logistics of what every single one exactly means. But in some way, I think we all have a relationship to everything, right? And it can be balanced. It can be very secure. Or it can be anxious, and it's like we constantly feel as if we have to chase this thing, or we have to work harder for this thing. Or it could be avoidant. It could be that we actually, I said I would describe is we're hyper independent. We feel like we don't want to rely on anything or anyone. And so, yeah, to have an attachment, generally speaking, like, it is a normal thing. But when you are attached to something, I think the way that we often talk about that is almost in the context of being anxiously attached. And so being attached, it speaks to your confidence. It speaks to a lack of confidence, essentially. Not feeling like you are enough on your own. It leads to this feeling of, I need something or I need someone to fulfill me, to feel like I'm filling that gap inside of me, that void inside of me. And it could be, again, for many reasons. Like, there's daddy issues, there's people who experience it romantically speaking. And this can pertain to anything, right? When you attach your worth or your sense of self to anything in order to feel like, you know, you can survive, like you can exist, whether that be like an accolade, we can be attached to anything. And it's important to, even though it's natural, it's normal, we're all looking for things to help us feel whole, you know, help us feel like most ourselves. I think there's a fine line in terms of understanding that something adds to your life and it benefits you versus it is something that I need to exist. And so I think that's where like the danger comes in, is like this feeling of this necessity and having this thing in order to feel like you can function and operate. Because knowing life, guys, like, it will constantly put you in situations where you have to stand on your own, regardless of what is around you, what you have. We're talking about materialistic things. Like, you can be attached to your clothes, you can be attached to your makeup, you can be attached to your money. There's a lot of things you can be attached to. And like, the way that life works, you will be tested to see like how attached are you to these things, you know? How much do you like want these things, even if at some points they don't want you. Not actually they don't want you, but you know, they're not serving you, or maybe they're hurting you. If anything, you choosing them is at the expense of something else that like might be more valuable for you long term, might be more healthy for you long term. And so think about these things, I think, are just very important. And understanding like, what am I attached to, right? At what expense is it that I'm attached to this thing, and at what degree am I attached to this thing? But like, I think the severity matters, right? Because like, it's like, to what degree, once again, at what expense am I attached to this thing or these things or these people or this person? And so thinking about that, I think now understanding what attachment is, right? Again, closely tying your identity to this thing, to certain things or to certain people. Now we can talk about detachments. And what is that? It's understanding that you can exist, you can be whole, you can be one without that thing, without that person. And I feel like a big part of it is understanding, once again, it's, in a lot of these videos, a lot of my chit chats, I think get back to this, but like, I think a lot really starts with you. And so being grounded, understanding who you are. I'm gonna keep saying that. You actually are in reality, in actuality, not who people tell you you are, not who people perceive you to be, not who people want you to be, not how people have treated you. Who are you when no one's around? I'm always speaking to myself. I'm always saying things that I don't want to hear myself. Like when I tell y'all, this is why it'd be hard sometimes sitting down and talking to y'all, because like I be needing to hear this shit. And I guess this is why this is needed for me too. Like I love making content because I'm like, I can fucking benefit from hearing this myself. Like I need to work on this myself. When the doors are closed, curtains are closed, who is Estella? Like what makes me tick? What sets me off? What ignites a fire in me? What makes me excited? What makes me sad? What stresses me out? What scares me? What surprises me? All these things really reflect the type of person that you are. What do I love? What do I hate? What makes me uncomfortable? What shakes me? What challenges me? What comforts me? These are all questions that we ask ourselves when we're asking, who are we, right? And so I think the more that we understand that, the more that we can really get to understand that even though it may feel like it, we are whole without other things, external things. Like you yourself are you because of you, not because of what you do. I think habits are important, right? And I think they can reflect character, but ultimately, again, I think that's more inward. It's like whatever you're putting out, like, but it starts with a thought. It starts with beliefs. It starts with feelings. Like all of these things together, combined, reflect who you are at your core. Not necessarily what you did that one time when you embarrassed yourself. Not what you wore or what you wear regularly. That is a part of you expressing yourself, but that's a reflection of what's inside of you. T. Because I can be a quirky person and I express that through my makeup. I can be like a very bold person and I express that through my clothing choices, you know? So point is, understanding nothing can take away whatever's already inside of you. The power in that, you hold it all in yourself. You understand that there's no man that I need. There's no opportunity that I need to be that. There are things that can leave room for you to continue to tap into the person that you are and feel more like yourself at your core, but they're not making you you. They may be giving you the space to be you, but you don't need them to be you. You don't need them to continue to exhibit or have these things, these qualities. Those are always going to be inside of you. Like no one can take that from you. And I think understanding that can really help with detachment, because it's like, whether or not I have this thing or this person, I'm still going to be Stella. Like I'm still going to be a baddie. I'm still going to be like super intelligent. I'm still going to be super funny. I'm still going to be super loyal. I'm still going to be super curious. Like these are all things that no one can take from me. And like when we think about it too, this is another way to contextualize it. And I'm going to focus on the romantic aspect of things, because I think a lot of times us women, we tend to have a hard time doing this romantically, detaching. What I tell myself whenever I'm going through a breakup or whenever something's going left in a relationship that I really do value with someone I really do value is that I was me before this person. And I was whole and I was fine. There wasn't a soul that existed before this person, before this thing, for this relationship. So I can always go back to her. Like, she's always gonna be there. Oh, it was so healing to hear. That was so nice. But yeah, she's always gonna be there. Like, is she gonna be exactly the same Stella that she was 5 years ago? Absolutely not. Like, Stella is not the same Stella she was 2 days ago because I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly growing from different people and different experiences. So even though it's not expected that I'm going to go back to that same person, and I mean, do we want to go back to the same person? I feel like to evolve is a beautiful thing. And that's literally the point of life, is to continue growing, to continue evolving, continue to build on what we've already experienced, what we've already known, and who we've already been. And so the standard is not to go back to the Estella 5 years ago, before this relationship, before this person. The standard is to go back as closely as I can to the Stella that feels, how do I explain this? That feels true to me, but in an evolved way, right? What do I mean by that? There are some things that don't change within a person, and there are things that do. And I guess those are kind of like, to some degree, like your non-negotiable things. Like at your core, who are you gonna be regardless of different like experiences, situations, people, phases? These are always gonna be who you are at your core. It's hard to explain that, but I think an example is like, if you're like a sensitive person, generally you're probably always gonna be a sensitive person. Like maybe the people that you're around maybe make you a little less sensitive because you learn to toughen up for that environment, right? That's what we do for survival. But I think generally, if you are like a sensitive person, like you're probably always going to be like a sensitive person. So that's an example. Like there's certain traits that like they might change a little bit, but like generally they're still going to hold true to you. So when you're in the process of detaching yourself from someone and something, there's this understanding of you are you, you've been you, independent of this person. As much as you might have built a life with them, as much as you have built a relationship with them, as much as you both have, and I think the way that I see any relationship, any friendship is like you together have coexisted in a way where you both contributed to this combined identity. If that makes sense. Like I think when you coexist with someone for so long, it's like you both not only have your individual identities, but you have a collective identity together. And I think that's what a relationship really is. It's like we both contribute to this relationship and like operate in a way that is very specific to this relationship. And that's what I mean by collective identity. And so as much as you form these collective identities, you learn to coexist with someone, that doesn't take away from like the parts of you that were still just in you. You know what I mean? Because you still bring those parts to that collective identity. So I'm getting very technical right now, but my point is, think about a Venn diagram. Like he's on this side, you're on this side. He's bringing his traits, you're bringing your traits. Now combines the relationship. This is the middle that you both share. There's parts of him that are in you. There's parts of you that are in him. There's still the parts that are independent. You and him. So when you're thinking about detaching, right? When you understand, there has to be this understanding. I think this is why it's easier said than done, right? I think, again, especially coming from me, it is hard to learn how to be interdependent, you know, how to have your own identity, but also know how to exist with someone. But it's very important because you can lose yourself if you aren't operating in that way. And so when you realize, oh, hey, like I'm actually losing myself, like or maybe this relationship isn't serving me, or there's a breakup or whatever, something's not going right. And I am putting too much of myself. I'm basing too much of my identity on this thing, on this person, on this relationship, on this person. There needs to be an understanding that I was me before this relationship. Once again, I can always go back to her because she's still in me. She's still in me. I just need to access her. I haven't accessed her in a while because, again, at a certain point when a relationship or a person becomes so much of your life, it's like you don't really tap into that. You don't really like, you kind of forget that. Like, they're still me at the end of the day, you know? And so reminding yourself of that, like, she's always been here. I can always go back to her. Step one, detachment. Honestly, that's really it. Like, but other than that, I think, again, like going back to, and this is similar to like my other videos, for example, learning how to regulate your nervous system, my self-care routine, things like that. Like, you have to remember how to get back to you. You have to know yourself enough to understand, and also give yourself the grace to know that you have evolved, and there's still parts of you, there's room to learn, and allowing yourself to explore that and like find new hobbies, find new interests, but also again knowing how to get back to the things that you already know are interests for you, hopefully, or like values of yours. Hopefully you're not so lost that you have no idea of what any of that is. That is a very tough place to be, and I'm not saying it to be funny. Like, I genuinely feel like that's very difficult to deal with. Probably, like, I've gotten very close multiple times, so hey, I get it, no judgment here. But I think there should be a slim sense of like, who is Estella? I actually just made a video about defining yourself, like your identity, and like reigniting your spark after you've lost it. And I think that could be really helpful because it speaks to a lot of things I'm talking about. So if you haven't watched it already, check it out. But point is, I think you should have at least a couple of things in mind where you're like, I know that this is what makes me me. This is what helps me get grounded. This is something that makes me feel like myself. And I think implementing those things, I think, help with detachment and focusing on your goals again. Like, babes, especially again as women, our goals should not just be romantic. Like, why are goals just related to being a good girlfriend, being a wife, being a good partner for someone? Like, yes, those are important, and it's very commendable that you want to work on that. Again, I'm talking to myself. But what else, babes? And it happens naturally, because like, you can be ambitious and want to be a girlfriend or want to be a wife. Like, value that, value partnership. But I think what happens naturally a lot of times, again, especially depending on like your attachment style and the person, basically how you love, how you operate in relationships, is you get so attached, you start losing yourself, and the main objectives revolve around your relationship. And now it's like, yeah, you're still ambitious, you're still like a go-getter, you're still setting these goals for yourself, you're still working towards them, you're still keeping busy. But at the end of the day, you 9 times out of 10, like, you're gonna drop the things that you got going on, your goals, for this person, for this relationship. The distinction here is, it's not bad to do that, especially when you're talking about like a long-term relationship. Kudos, that's commendable. And again, it depends on the relationship dynamic, because like, sometimes there might be an agreement of like, hey, if we both have career shit going on, we're gonna put that first. Y'all on the same page about that. But generally, when there is commitment, I feel like there's a sense of like sacrifice, where 9 times out of 10, you're gonna put some shit that could benefit you on the side personally for the sake of the relationship or the family or whatever, the commitment. But when it's the case that it's not reciprocated, you're constantly putting your dreams to the side, you're constantly putting your goals to the side, homeboy isn't. Because a lot of times, let's talk about it. We're not gonna make this chit chat too long. I'm trying to wrap it up a little soon, but what we don't say is, men are conditioned to choose themselves every fucking time. I'm gonna tell you that, and I'm gonna say it again. Men are conditioned to choose themselves every single fucking time. Their goals, their dreams, everything. And to us, it could be big or small. 9 times out of 10, he's probably going to put himself first. I'm not trying to make generalizations. This is just what I've noticed. And maybe maturity changes that, I don't know. But from what I've seen, from what I've heard about from other women's experiences, a man is more likely to put himself first versus a woman. A woman is more likely to drop her shit for a man, for what's best for him or for what's best for the relationship. Women are taught more to value being a wife, being a girlfriend, prioritizing family. A man is conditioned more generally, in my opinion, to value their goals. And I think obviously this is like from socialization, right? Like, men are in a traditional household, it's like men have been expected to be the providers. And so maybe, I know I can see how that would like affect things. Like, they're taught to really prioritize career, prioritize like getting food on the table, like having financial stability, versus women who I think are conditioned to have more of like a familiar role, like more of a domestic, I would say, role, where they're caring for the kids and like, you know, they're taking care of the household. I can see how that then affects like the way that both are socialized, right? Like, men are again taught to be focused more on their goals and prioritizing their goals and like their dreams and aspirations and all these things, their priorities, versus women more so expected to just kind of like drop everything for a man. And again, conditioned to think in that way. All of this is interconnected. And point is, I think understand how both are conditioned to be like that in society. But I think, yeah, that's the trend. Men are taught that it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to choose themselves every time. And so the point of this video, yes, obviously I'm talking about detaching when it comes to like physical things, when we're talking about materialistic things, when I'm talking about different like job title, like all these things are important to detach from. But specifically, I wanted to focus on relationships, okay? Like detaching when it comes to romance. Because why are we dropping everything for men? Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? What are they doing for us? For real? Like what is he actually doing for you? Is he helping you accomplish your goals? Because that's the thing about it too. Like, what is he doing to set you up for success? Not that you have to be dependent on a man, because 100%, if anything, I'm hyper independent. I believe the opposite. I think every woman should have their own, because yeah, there's a little bit of trust issues sprinkled in there. But you just, in general, in life, whether it be you a woman or not, but especially when you're a woman, you can be very vulnerable when you don't have your own. And so I'm always going to preach that. But when I say that, does he even like, you know, add to your life? And like, does he set you up for success? Does he help contribute to your journey and like helping you accomplish your goals? Is that a man should add to your life, okay? And if he's not adding to your life, why are we getting attached? Generally, why are we getting attached anyways? Because like, at the end of the day, you're the one that's taking care of your shit. The person who's most responsible for you is you. Again, we have to know that we are beautiful and we are whole and we are worth everything that we want. We're just so uniquely made and so beautifully made. We have so much to offer on our own. There's so much beauty in us, intrinsically, naturally, with a man, without a man. We need to detach, babes. Because I fear that not being able to detach, this relates to everything I've told you guys before already too. It leads to self-sabotage is really what it does. Because like, you end up being in a situation you don't want to be in, because now your life has become this person, or like this person's life, or like what this person can contribute to your life. So now you don't have power and your happiness and your wholeness, perceived wholeness, and that is a miserable place to be, because it should be inside you. It shouldn't be external. It shouldn't be outward. I shouldn't have to look for it anywhere other than in myself. And I think, again, continuing to engage with things that help me blossom in that way, I think that's ideal. Like, that's what is necessary. That's healthy. But depending on a man, depending on anything, to feel like you can operate, no, you don't. Like, you're whole on your own. Did you come out of the womb by yourself, or did you come with somebody else? Okay, if you're a twin, take a seat. We're not talking about you. But, no, I'm kidding. But, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't come with you out the womb, so you don't need him, girl. You don't need him. You just need you. The more we love ourselves, the more we understand that all we need is us, the happier we'll be. So anyways, that was probably like all over the place, but I felt like very compelled to speak on this today, because yeah, I just hate seeing us girls just like struggling with our sense of identity, because we're depending on a man to give us all the things that we should be giving ourselves, or like to make us feel all the ways that we should already be feeling or making ourselves feel, you know? I hate that for us. I really do. And hopefully we can collectively as women decide to stop letting these men feel like they're so important. Not that I hate men, okay? Because I've been working on that, right? Like, I think the last few years. I've really been trying not to be like anti-men, because they low-key be giving that sometimes, like, I like y'all, but do I? But I can acknowledge when certain behavior is toxic, and I can acknowledge that some shit just ain't right, okay? Some shit just ain't right. And so I think we need to step into our femininity, and we need to love ourselves enough as women and just keep pouring into ourselves and understanding that we are worth so much. We are literally worth so much. And if he can't add to that, if he can't meet you where you're at when you're there, not that you have to get rid of him, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, recenter ourselves. Let's get back to us. So, because again, that's where it started. So anyways, y'all, I know this was a little bit longer than I expected it to be, and that I was saying it was gonna be, but I hope you guys really enjoyed this chit chat, because I enjoyed talking with the girls. I really love chatting with you guys. I'm very sad that I'm going to be leaving my apartment soon, so we're gonna be checking in from a new location. But I really do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. I hope it spoke to you all, or some of you at least. And I hope you guys love on yourselves, okay? Being said, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you like this video. Hopefully I'll catch you guys for the next one. Bye.
On with it and move on to the next. But if we're being real, that's just not my style.